As Nigeria celebrates her independence, we reflect on our political journey so far. How have our democracy evolved over the years? Is it Uhuru in the Nigerian political space? Can we boast of true democracy and a functional federal system of government? Talking about the latter, we have a political system in which no group or nationality is happy or at ease, with an ethnic group in the country screaming of marginalization. At 64, can we boast that we run a democracy when we are incapable of even conducting elections successfully? Elections where the military is used for what ordinarily should be a peaceful process of selecting leaders by the people. What business does the Chief of Defense Staff have with civilians during elections? As Owe Lakemfa wrote, we know that the monthly allowances distributed in the National Assembly are illegal, that the constituency projects cannot stand the most rudimentary scrutiny, and that our annual budgets are padded. Yet we expect the same body to carry out oversight function. Can a compromised National Assembly check the executive or call public officials to order? The most worrying is the growing insecurity in the land, with terrorists, bandits and separatists overrunning vast swaths of the country. Insecurity has been linked to political interest, with political bigwigs fingered over the years without probe. The state of insecurity has become even more frightening after various accusations were made against the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale. Those making the accusations include the governor of Zamfara State, Dawuda Lawal, who accused his predecessor of keeping bandits in the government house and receiving ransom on their behalf. Yet, all Matawale could do was to swear by the Quran. What is the way forward? Is there hope for Nigeria? Nigeria, we hail thee. Honorable Land, Nigeria at 64.
Yeah.
Let us retrospect on the political journey so far. What do you have to say about this?
First of all, quickly, I want to appreciate us as Nigerians who have come this far, because America was not like this in their 64th independence. You know, every country has their way of going through different situations and different moments or thereabout. But, you know, in the issue of Nigeria, insecurity has been the order of the day. And not just only insecurity, there has been a lot of issues as regards even people not obeying laws, which is, if you ask me, is the head of every other issue, because it is disobedience to law and order that gives room to insecurity. It is disobedience to law and order that gives room to governors abusing of power. It is the disobedience to law and order that gives room to impunity in office. So in a nutshell, I want to say that today Nigerians have continued to, you know, enjoy and observe what is really happening in Nigeria today. So for that reason, I would say let us continue to hope, because I will always continue to advise, like Ben dreams. Because we as Nigerians, we believe in the future of Nigeria. I will continue to say that Nigeria will get better. And now where we are as regards these insecurities and challenges, it is only a phase and a stage in life. No man becomes independent when they were born.
When you say it's a phase,
yes,
the question would be, how do you think insecurity is a phase? We are discussing politics.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the political aspects of insecurity in Nigeria. Is insecurity lucrative army was respected. Now, the same Nigerian army that fought the Ekomog War, the same Nigerian army that went for peace missions, the same Nigerian military that nations will tremble at, battle with insecurity, or a war with insecurity right now, and it's spreading, the insecurity is spreading its tentacles. I would ask, because we're discussing politics,
Absolutely.
do you think insecurity right now is lucrative? Can it be directly linked to political vested interest? Do not forget, the more insecurity you have in a state, the bigger the security votes.
Absolutely.
For that state.
Absolutely.
Can we take a look at the increment of security votes in states that, but there's a reality that Nigerians probably do not know, or they are not talking about. Okay. But we should say the truth so that people will call the system out if the system is corrupt. So can you link, is there any direct link to insecurity as a business with respect to the profitability and increased insecurity and security votes? Because like I said, the more insecurity in states that are relatively very peaceful, their security votes are lesser. But in states that have high insecurity, their security votes are very humongous. What do you have to say to that?
Okay, thank you, Lauricia. First of all, let me start by saying that the reason why we are where we are today is because of people not being able to own up the truth and respect the oath which they took. And I must, for the first time, doff my helmet to the governor, the serving governor, Lawal, for coming out publicly to call out his predecessor on the activities, that were unknown to a lot of Nigerians. And I must say to Mr. President, because this is not the first time an appointee of Mr. President is found wanting in one issue or the other. We've had the case whereby an appointee of Mr. President is found wanting in the issue of misappropriation, the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. We also have the situation whereby the minister, an appointed minister of Mr. President, and also other appointees are found wanting in one issue or the other. And now, considering the high risk of it all, on the issue of banditry and insecurity. And remember that federal government of Nigeria, during the last dispensation of President Muhammadu Buhari, allocated over 24 trillion to the Nigerian army to acquire equipment, for us to be able to, bring down or
where are the equipment?
I'm coming. I'm trying to make a build up. So, but now we can now be able to know those who are real the enemies of Nigeria. Mm-hmm. We cannot be able to understand that in the case of insecurity in Nigeria, it's becoming a profitable business, especially for those who are in power and who does not want to leave power. Just like what we continue to also witness in our state here in Rivers State, whereby some persons, because they feel that they were the ones who agitated or who made multiple efforts for somebody to succeed them, they want to stay wherever they find themselves to control the soul of the state. And this is a fight against democracy. This is a fight against Nigeria. So I think that right now I am very, very happy and pleased that the serving governor of Zamfara State is coming out publicly, Lawan, to make such a statement. And again, I want to say on the issue of Nigerian army, the Nigerian army continue to deplete themselves, devaluate themselves, because just like you said, Nigerian army as a 2004-2007, Nigerian army was rated the best land army in the whole world. Considering our expertise and how Nigerian army were able to showcase themselves during the Ekomog and the rest of them in the Congo and the rest of. But today, Nigerian army is being, cut down into pieces. Even the death of Nigerian troops are celebrated. Is no longer anything like the other day while I was speaking with you on different fora. We saw what happened at Obikabi Junction in Aba, where Nigerian army were ambushed. We saw what happened in Kano during the End Bad Governance protest, where members of the Nigerian army aid and abet citizens and give them, instruments of the Nigerian security architecture to go about, trying to pull down the government of the day. Why? Because these people were all sponsored by also the same people in power. So I think that it is high time that we all as Nigerians sit up and tell ourselves the truth. And that is the reason why we continue to say, especially to the electorate, we should not only continue to give power to those who give us the little things that fall from the master's table, the crumbs that fall from the master's table. We should look at those who are genuine politicians with interest, those who are genuine leaders, who has antecedents of leadership, who have a lot to offer their people, not just because of what they have. And again, our political system need to change, because we need to change our political trajectory from not just only becoming a party or a political vehicle that bring people to power. Rather, it should be about an ideology. That if you're not part of that ideology, you should not be able to embrace it, just like what is happening in the US. If you're not a Republican, you're a Democrat, and you must always believe in, if you're not part of that ideology, you shouldn't be found there. Because whenever you are found wanting, definitely you should be prosecuted and executed. So I think that it's high time that as Nigerians, we will continue to call these people out. Thank you.
Now, speaking on Matawale issue, you applauded Dauda Lawal for calling out Matawale.
Absolutely.
Now, calling out Matawale, does it change anything?
Absolutely, it does. First of all, he has made us all realize that as a sitting governor, he has been able to see what Nigerians from the diaspora and also from a broader view does not see closely.
Now, the thing is Matawale the first political bigwig in Nigeria to be fingered in relation to insecurity?
Larissa, thank you very much. Not to cut you off, but I will tell you, on this issue, I am very, very happy that even if Matawale might not be the first, but at least let us start from somewhere, because a trajectory changes a certain day. If the way Matawale is being called out and the way I am also calling out others, especially those even here in Rivers State, on their activities and their functionalities and the rest of them, if every other individual and other public office holders continue to call them out, believe me, when you want to engage in an office you want to take an oath, you should remember that somebody definitely will call you out. I want to stand a day whereby I can be called out the same way I'm calling others out on national TV today.
Now, it's one thing to call out.
Absolutely.
And it's another thing for erring citizens of the country, regardless of the position they had in the past,
absolutely,
to face the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely.
That's why I asked you, is it the first political bigwig that is being fingered in relation to insecurity and having direct link to bandits and unknown gunmen and all sorts? Why is there no consequence? Now, the National Assembly probably is proposing a probe for Matawale. You recall the Bobrisky saga that just happened. Matawale's call-out started before the Bobrisky issue started. But in order of priority, the National Assembly feels that Bobrisky's issue holds more prominence and more importance in relation or in comparison to insecurity and serious allegation of this nature directly linked to an ex-governor. Which brings us back to the functionality of the National Assembly. Is the National Assembly, because when we talk about democracy, we should look at the National Assembly. They are the heartbeat of democracy in Nigeria. Would you say in 64 years that the National Assembly has done a good job, particularly the 10th Assembly?
Well, thank you very much, Larissa. I want to state clearly that the National Assembly, ably led by the 108 senators and the 340-something Federal House of Rep members, for the past 64 years of our democracy, and especially from the Fourth Republic, 1999 till date, has not done us well. But we cannot, they say there's no limit to what can be accomplished. We cannot, because of their own individual deficiencies. But it's so painful that part of the reasons why these things are happening is because today the National Assembly is becoming a retiring zone for former governors, and which is also a problem, because when a former governor, sits in power, has immunity, and engage in doing some things, abuse of power, expression of shenanigans, and at the end of the day, he also finds himself in the National Assembly, and issues like this are talked about. He will be the number one person to kick against it, just like what we see what is happening in the issue of some senators supporting the local government autonomy, yet some senators are not also supporting the state policing, because they know
what they were able to do. Some of them created bandits in their state. Some of them created this same insecurity, like you said, because they have already seen that it is profitable. When they look at the security vote that comes with crisis in states, the federal government creates a bigger budget for every state that is affected. Look at what we continue to hear in the Northeast, which led to the establishment of Northeast Development Commission. It didn't only end there, plus every other agency and parastatal that has already continued to, if you look at what is happening, the commission that is saddled with responsibility of boundary, within the Southeast, have little or less, logistics in operation compared to those who are found within the Northeast and the North Central and the Northwest, precisely. So, and it tells you why it's happening the way it's happening. But until we tell ourselves the truth, the National Assembly has not done, especially the 10th Assembly. I want to state it categorically that among those that are calling for the head of the serving Senate President, I want the Senate President to leave office or be impeached. Because in the issue of the ways and means, whereby over 24 trillion naira was misappropriated by the previous administration through a rubber stamp of the 9th Assembly, till today it was never called out. But this was the same senator who came out publicly to tell Nigerians who wanted to engage in their constitutional right by telling Nigerians and the Nigerian government to reduce the cost of livelihood in the protest. He was the one that said that the protesters should continue to protest in the street while he continued to feed and fathom in his languishing in the National Assembly. So I think that the 10th Assembly has not done us well, especially Godswill Akpabio. Remember that Godswill Akpabio was the former governor of Akwa Ibom State for 8 years, from 2007 to 2015. Remember also that this same Godswill Akpabio was the former minister of NDDC, and it was the time he was the former minister he was the serving minister of NDDC that over billions of dollars that were accrued and saved in NDDC funds were all misappropriated till today. It has not been questioned. So I don't see a reason why we continue to play to the gallery on these issues. The National Assembly should be able to sit up, and Mr. President, with all due respect, should keep off from the National Assembly, because it is his bromance with the National Assembly, he's getting involved with his executive power in the National Assembly, has continued to create these rooms. We saw what happened in the 9th Assembly when the likes of what's his name from Delta State, Omo Agege, who happened in the 8th Assembly, who stole the mess of the National Assembly. Yet in the 9th Assembly, because of he was part of the national leading party, he was made the deputy Senate President. And today this same thing is continuing to happen, and it does not speak well of Nigerian democracy. It does not. I continue to say every single day that the parliament remains the bedrock of a democratic governance, and Nigeria as a democratic state must be able to be held accountable for it. As Democrats, as true Democrats, those who believe in democracy, our National Assembly should be able to sit up. Because believe me, if I find myself as a man, it's better for me to be a single voice in the National Assembly that will call for the head of the Senate President, than for me to sit down there and continue to enjoy the things that are entitled to senators, and yet those who ask me to represent them are in abject poverty. Those who ask me to represent them are suffering from insecurity of all kinds. Those who ask me who stood under the sun and rain to cast their vote and make sure that I stand to defend them and represent them are languishing in no education and poor health care. So these are the issues that our Nigerians, especially those who occupying the National Assembly, should be able to sit up and look at the oath of office they took and do the needful.
Now, in your opinion, as we round up the Independence Day conversation, would you say that Nigeria is truly independent, or are we practicing neo-colonialism now?
I will tell you, Lauricia, that from 1999 till 2015, Nigeria has enjoyed independence, democracy precisely. But from 2015, that the APC-led political party has taken over Nigeria, Nigeria has retrogressed. As a matter of fact, Nigeria is even living behind the 1950s, and it's so bad. I stand to be challenged anywhere, even in court, because there is no room for us to continue to accommodate these, poor representations. We must call those who took oath to represent us, we must call them out from time to time, including Mr. President. And I must tell Mr. President, I believe and I know he's watching me, that he should be able to sit up. He gave Nigerians hope. He said to Nigerians that he has given us renewed hope. We know what Nigerians have gone through from 1999, which is the Fourth Republic, till date. There is need for him to step up. I believe that just like what my reverend Senator Lindume said, he does not know what is happening in Nigeria. He is enjoying himself traveling with different types of our fleet of jets, you know, moving from one country to another, enjoying the paradise that the Aso Villa can afford, but he does not understand the excruciating pains that those who stand under the sun, who stood under the sun and rain to cast their vote and make him to become the leader and the ruler of Nigerian government today are going through. Look at the cost of livelihood in Nigeria today. Look at the abject poverty that Nigerians are going through. Look at the economic bottleneck. Look at the health care. Look at the education. Today, Nigerians they can hardly afford, you know, standard education. And it is so bad. So I am also using the opportunity to call Mr. President out. Nigeria today is celebrating independence, but Mr. President, you should try as much as possible to make sure that every arm of government, the executive arm of government, the judicial arm of government, and as well as the parliamentary arm of government should be independent of your powers, because we know that the 1999 constitution has alluded a lot of powers to the executive arm of Nigeria, and that's the reason why all this is continue to happen. But Mr. President, with all consciousness and with your conscience, as a former governor of Nigeria during the early days of our independence, especially during the Fourth Republic, you should be able to do the needful for the future that will speak of you. Thank you very much.
What is the needful that should be done?
The needful is that he should go back to what the led administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo did, 1999, cutting down the cost, reducing our expenses, and above all, increasing our income, save our money. During the time of Obasanjo, Nigeria, all our outstanding debt by the previous military administration were all cleared out under the regime of Obasanjo. During the time of Obasanjo, we had a lot of savings, which he handed over to late Omar Musa Yar'Adua. But today, instead of Nigerians to move forward, Nigeria is going back into, you know, loans that we don't even know who is going to pay them. One day maybe we might wake up and we are told that the loans that the serving government have taken has sold us and we have no place that we can call our home. Absolutely. Because I believe, and I can tell you, and I'm proud to say it, that there is no country in the whole world like Nigeria where you can enjoy the type of freedom you have in Nigeria, where you can be able to enjoy the benefits you have in Nigeria, where you can be able to enjoy the freedom you have in Nigeria. So for that reason, I am calling on Mr. President to go back to consulting the likes of President Obasanjo, who is still alive today, and ask him how was he able to micromanage the affairs of Nigerian government and be able to bring us to where we are today. I can tell you, you know, with all confidence that that is the time that Nigeria enjoyed or experienced democracy. Because that was the time that even the cellulars that we're using today came to limelight. That was the time that the digital age was introduced. That was the same time that even our advanced education, including the technology and the rest of them, were all unveiled. But since then till today, what other new dynamics have we been able to experience? The answer is no.
All right.